Want to know how to make her want you sexually? I bet you do, because all of my clients say the same thing. Keep watching and I've got you covered. If you haven't already done so, make sure that you subscribe to my channel and hit the bell so you're notified every time I release a new dating advice video for guys looking to attract women they're really excited about. I'm Emyli, founder of emlovz.com, and pretty much every one of my clients wants to know how to make women want them sexually so that they don't get friend-zoned. So that's what today's video is all about. You're gonna learn the mental, emotional, and physical triggers that you need to use in order to make women want you sexually. First things first, you need to create an emotional connection. Dating is about emotion and sensation. It is not about logic. Imagine that you have a beautiful woman in your bed. Is there anything logical about having physical intimacy with her? No. In fact, the more you're thinking, the less fun it's probably gonna be. And dating is pretty much just the same. You can't logic your way into a woman's heart. You really wanna make sure that you focus on the emotional connection, not on logical stuff. Don't talk to her about work. Don't ask her questions that make her use her logical brain. Instead, ask her questions that pull at her heartstrings, that really build that emotional connection. The areas that I recommend you focus conversation on fall into 4 categories: favorites, hobbies, family, and pets. You'll notice that work is not in that list. Even if a woman is super passionate about her job, if she's thinking about it, that's gonna activate her logical mind, because work is a logical endeavor. But if you're talking to her about what she loves to do for fun, or her favorite food, her favorite musician, her favorite book, her passions, bring out that side of her that really helps to create that emotional connection. There's also ways to get a woman to think about you sexually by introducing the topic of sex into conversation. 1, you're gonna ask a question that is harmless. 2, you're gonna ask a question that is flirty but harmless. 3, you're gonna ask a sexy question. You ask her about her first crush. Then you ask her about her first kiss. Then you ask her about the first time she had sex. How this is probably gonna go, you're gonna say, tell me about your first crush. She'll probably say, oh my God, that was so long ago, I can't remember. What about you? Then you're gonna tell her an amazing story that gets her to imagine the feeling that you had for your first crush, the feeling in the body. Starting to get her to use her imagination to think of sexy, flirty things. Then you're gonna do the same. So when you tell the story, it gives her permission to tell you a story back, because this is a little bit vulnerable, right? Second, let's say you're asking about, tell me about your first kiss. Again, she's probably not gonna wanna say, because she's used to society judging her for sharing sexy information. So she's probably gonna say something like, oh, I don't know, what about you? Then you're gonna tell a story. You're not gonna apologize for saying things that are flirty or sexy. That will tell her subconsciously that you're creating a safe space to talk about sex. You're non-judgmental, and so she can share things with you that she wouldn't share with other people who judge. You're also gonna start to get her to imagine the feeling of kissing, the feeling of that sexual tension. And you're really gonna do that in that 3rd story. Tell me about the first time you had sex. You're gonna tell the story. You are not gonna apologize for using explicit language to describe the things that are sexy. You're not gonna say the pee-pee, you're gonna say, the actual word. You're not gonna apologize. You're not gonna say, sorry, I hope that wasn't too much. You're not gonna do that. If you're self-judging your own story, that means that you're not creating a safe space for her to open up about sex. So you wanna make sure that you create that safe space by not judging your own story, by using the explicit language to describe the body parts that you're talking about, by really painting a picture in the story so that she can see the setting, she knows when it took place, she can see what you were wearing, how it felt, she can really visualize that. And what's gonna happen is she's gonna start to insert herself into the story the same way we do when we watch a movie. So when we watch a movie, and maybe it's like really an emotional movie and then we cry, that's because we're putting ourselves in the main character's position. We're almost imagining them as us. And so we're feeling all the feelings that they're having. And that's gonna happen in your storytelling, especially if you practice it, because she's gonna start to visualize herself as the woman in your story. So Really practice developing your storytelling skills. Make sure that you're giving her the setting, the characters, the names of the characters, really painting a picture for her so she can imagine the feeling of sex with you. Even though you're not telling her a story about you and her, you're telling your own story that happened, but you're doing it in a way where she's gonna start imagining that, and that's gonna open her up, and then she'll be able to share her story with you as well. You're not gonna judge. When you notice that she's feeling uncomfortable about something she shared, or when she goes a little deeper and gives you a little bit more, you're going to demonstrate that you approve. So you're gonna say, oh, I like that. You're basically creating this safe space for you both to share sexual information with each other in a really safe way. That is gonna set you apart from like 99.9% of other men who are too afraid to talk about sex, who are too afraid to create that safe space, and who judge themselves and others. Never lie to create a bond. You really don't wanna be telling a woman what she wants to hear if that is not the truth. This is how you get in deep trouble with women. This is how you get stalkers and crazy women. You just don't want to lie ever. If you're afraid to tell the truth, I would really examine that. For instance, I have a lot of clients who are coming out of divorce and maybe they're not looking for their next wife immediately. If that's the case, and maybe you're just looking to date and gain experiences and even have physical intimacy with different people for experience, it's important to just be honest about that so that you can manage those expectations and not have her thinking that you guys are both gonna be boyfriend, girlfriend, when really you have no intention of being in a relationship anytime soon. It's totally sexy. It's really sexy, actually, to state those things up front, to manage expectations, because it gives her all of the information she needs to decide for herself, and then she feels in control. For example, if you were in that situation where you're coming out of a divorce and you want to have physical intimacy with someone, or maybe you want to have physical intimacy with a woman who you don't see as a long-term potential partner, but you still see as like a friend with benefits, it's best to just be direct about it and say, hey, I'm having a really great time getting to know you. I want to make sure that I manage expectations well, and I would love to explore physical intimacy with you, but I know that I'm not in the position to get into a long-term relationship right now, and I want to give you, the choice. I want you to have all the facts before we make that decision. Or I don't see a long-term relationship with us, but I am having a good time and I would love to be physically intimate if that's something that you wanted without any strings attached. It sounds really scary, but actually being the guy who's honest is like the sexiest thing you can do. And even if she's like uncomfortable or she gets pissed off at first, a lot of times women respect the man who is willing to lose it all in order to get what he wanted and to be honest. And a lot of times they'll come around and realize, yeah, why not have a good time and enjoy this physically, even if I know that it's not going to turn into anything. At least I'm getting to make that decision, and this guy has the courage to tell me the truth. Another really important thing you can do is listen to her. Get out of your head and pay attention to what she's saying. Ask questions that delve into those topics rather than jumping from superficial topic to superficial topic. This can be hard if you're really in your head, which happens, of course, when we're really excited about somebody. And so what you can do when you're feeling or you're noticing that you're in your head and you're really not listening to the other person is first wiggle your toes. That will remind you that you actually have a body and you're not a floating head. And then ask yourself a question. How can I focus my attention outward? Let me get really curious about this person. Let me ask a question and really listen to what they have to say and listen to their answers so that then I can ask a follow-up question about that topic. And the key to doing this is to ask questions that you actually want to know the answers to. I think we're all culprits of just trying to maintain small talk, especially at like social functions or parties. But instead, you want to talk about something that you actually care about, something you want to know the answer to. If that's a polarizing topic, then so be it. At least you won't be forgettable, and it's a lot more interesting. Like, nobody wants to have a boring conversation over and over and over. I hope these mental and emotional triggers are helping you to learn more about how to make a woman want you sexually. Before we go into the physical triggers, make sure that you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to be notified of new videos that come out, and I would love to hear from you in the comment section if you have been in this position before where you were trying to make a woman want you sexually. It's really important that you maintain strong eye contact. Eyes are the doorway to the soul. When you're not looking at the person who's talking, it really breaks the connection. It actually subconsciously tells that person that you're not trustworthy, that you're insecure, that you may be a threat, because people who don't look you in the eye, it's very difficult to know what they're thinking. It's difficult to trust them, and it's really hard to open up to them. And then also I recommend that you have a signature scent. What this does is it's gonna bring her to her senses, and that's really key in creating sexual tension. You wanna get her to feel, not think. You wanna get her to smell, to taste, to touch, to hear. You want her in her body, in her senses, not in her head. Your style is so important for sexual attraction, and even more importantly than the brand name is that the clothes you wear fit your body well. They also really need to be on trend. If your clothes are like 5 years old, she's gonna be able to tell, and you're gonna be perceived as less attractive. If you're wearing dad shoes, throw them out, light them on fire, get rid of them. No dad shoes, none of those, Steve Jobs sneakers, unless you're Steve Jobs. Style is so important for building sexual attraction. At Emlovz, we have a celebrity stylist that we have working with our clients if you ever wanted help with that. But there's also things like Stitch Fix and Trendy Butler and Trunk Club, where they send you clothes, where a stylist will actually create a look for you, send you a certain amount of clothes, and then all you have to do is choose what you like and send back what you don't. It helps you also choose clothes that fit your body well, which is so important. A lot of people are wearing clothes that are a little bit too big for them, or they're just old, and a woman can really tell, and it just doesn't help with the sex appeal at all. A Hinge study found that guys were 75% more likely to get a like when they had a photo of them playing a contact sport. So your physical gifts are super important. In fact, if you don't already have a hobby photo on your profile, you should definitely put that on there to differentiate yourself. But if you're a physically active guy, having a physical photo, like a physically active photo, can really help you get more likes from the women that you're really excited about on dating apps. It also just tells her a little bit more about you, especially if you do so strategically. For example, if you're looking for an adventurous woman, why not post a photo of you doing a Tough Mudder or Spartan race or something that maybe you've done in the past? That's not only going to tell her what you look like, it's going to make her attracted to you, and it's going to speak to the specific audience that you're looking to attract. I hope these strategies will help you to recognize the most important triggers to get a woman to think about you sexually. And I totally get it. This is not an easy topic, especially with the Me Too movement and, women's liberation, which I think is so great. But it's hard for guys. I get it. It's like, am I being too passive or too forward? Am I coming across creepy or like boring? And it's really hard to tell. So if you need more help on this topic or any dating topic, book a new client session with myself or a member of my team over at emlovz.com/book. In that new client session, we'll talk about your dating goals, the obstacles that are holding you back from achieving them, and we'll answer any questions that you may have. All right, now you're one step closer to making a woman want you sexually. If you haven't already done so, make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. And I would love to hear from you. If you've been in this situation or you're dealing with this situation right now, leave a comment in the comments below. I love to hear from you.